Hi, my name is Joey Luna, and today I wanted to talk to you about the topics of aging and disability and how some cultures might view the two differently. Some cultures might view age as something entirely different as well, or they might automatically relate age and disability as the same thing. Okay, so let's get into this. The first question that I'm asked is, what is your personal understanding of what it means to be old? What is your personal understanding of what it means to be disabled? Okay, so my understanding is that old has an association of advanced age in life. Currently, many people in the US consider a person's age over 70 as old. But aside from an older age, I consider old to be related to things that can start to affect a person's way of life. For example, somebody that might need assistance for using the restroom at an advanced age in life might be considered old. Also, a person may begin to have incontinence later in life, and when that happens, that's kind of a sign like, hey, this person's getting old. I have personally witnessed this in several of my older family members who have since passed. Although some of them needed some assistance, I wouldn't have labeled all of them as disabled. So let me talk to you about what I feel disabled is. So I feel that disabled refers to an individual that has some sort of impairment, either being physical or mental. When someone can no longer walk and needs assistance with a wheelchair, for example, I would consider that being disabled. If someone has memory loss and is unable to make clear and conscious decisions, then they would be considered mentally disabled. All right, so the next question that I was asked is, how might your understanding of aging and disability compare to someone of a different generation? How might it compare to someone of a different culture? Include examples in both your answers. Okay, so I'm gonna be showing you a couple of charts in just a second. The first two charts that I'm gonna show you were available from Pew Research Center about an article about getting old in America. So let me get that pulled up, and I'm gonna swing the camera to face this other computer. Okay, so just give me a second while I make the proper adjustments. All right. Okay. Okay, so I believe that you should be able to see that right there. Okay, so at the top, it is labeled the markers of old age, and then it says percentage saying that a person is old when he or she, and then it breaks down different categories, such as the first one is turns 85, the next one is can't live independently, the next one is can't drive a car, then turns 75, frequently forgets familiar names, finds his or her health is failing, has trouble walking upstairs, has bladder control problems, is no longer sexually active, turns 65, retires from work, has grandchildren, and has gray hair. So the highest percentage here on this chart, out of the 2969 adults that were asked in this survey, 79% agreed that when somebody turns 85, they are considered old. The next one after that is can't live independently. So that is 76% of people that agreed with that. Let's take a quick look at the next chart. So let me get that pulled up. 1 second. All right. Let me hold this right here for a second. And I will be including these charts in my resource section. Okay. Okay. So this chart is about most markers of old age differ from young and old. So let me get this pulled up. Okay, so this chart breaks things down a little more. At the top of the chart, we can see a color-coded key up here. Okay, based on their age groups, this key shows us how people responded to how they viewed certain factors to consider an individual old. We can see that it appears that those in the 18 to 29% group, which is this dark blue right here, they viewed people as old at an earlier age than those included in the 50 to 69 age group. Okay, so what I mean by that is, for instance, let's look at the bar right here that says is no longer sexually active. So 46% of the people in the age group 18 to 29 felt like that correlated with somebody being old, whereas 32% of the age group 50 to 64 didn't see it being that old. Okay. Another one has bladder control problems. So 51% of the age of respondents between 18 and 29 felt like that was a factor in being considered old, where only 38% from the 50 to 64 age group of the respondents thought that that was a factor of being old. Okay. Get this aimed at me again. All right, so. All right. Okay. So, going on with that, that only reflected how individuals felt, or how their attitudes were towards people getting old in America, in the US. Individuals of other cultures do have different associations with the word old, or words old and disabled. So I actually have another chart that I want to pull up and show you. So this chart that I'm going to show you is from an article that was titled Perceptions of Aging Across 26 Cultures and Their Culture Level Associates. Let me get this pulled up right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna swing this back around here. Okay, so hopefully you can see all this right here. Again, I will have the link to this in my resources section, but over here you can see the different countries of the cultures, okay? And then at the top, you can see things labeled from attractiveness to societal views. There's other things like everyday tasks, new learning, general knowledge, wisdom, received respect, family authority, and life satisfaction. The higher that these numbers are, is a perception of being old. Okay? This study reported that the most negative perceived views were reported in Serbia, Argentina, Czech Republic, and the UK. Okay? So when you have a chance, just go ahead and look at that, and you can see what they felt made made them perceive individuals as being old. Let me see something that's high here. For Serbia, for instance, being attractive, if somebody loses attractiveness, they are starting to be considered old. Let's see another one. 1.2, let's go up here. New learning. So if people aren't learning new skills, they are being perceived as being old. Okay. All right. Let me get this adjusted here again. Okay. So now I wanted to touch on, let me move this down. Bear with me. All right. So how's that? Okay, I think that's not bad right there. Okay, so next I wanted to touch on people with disabilities and how they are viewed by other cultures. Specifically, I want to refer to an article that I read about a neglect of people with disabilities by the African church. Okay, so I will have a link to that article in my resources as well. The article reports that an African church community helps handicapped individuals, but as a result, those that are given help, they are done so according to the church's agenda. So in that sense, yes, they're given help, but it's kind of a double-edged sword because these people kind of lose their identity because the church helps them and even will start to describe them to other individuals as what kind of characteristics they have, rather than their name itself. A lot of times these people are called, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but it's spelled D-I-G-O-L-E. I think it's D-O, and that word means handicap. So again, they kind of lose their sense of identity just based on them receiving care. It's just weird. I mean, yes, again, I just want to bring up that it's kind of like a double-edged sword where the church is helping a disabled individual, but at the same time, it appears like they're doing so at the individual's expense. Okay. The next question is, if somebody in my family needed care due to age or a disability, who would be responsible for providing that care and why? Would it be important that caregivers be family? What is your definition of family? So I'm gonna start off with my definition of family. So to me, family is comprised of a mother and father in most instances, and any children that they may have. I also want to include any blood relative to them as family. Okay, so if I were to live with my mom, dad, and my sister, my grandparents are still my blood relatives, so they're my family. Okay, same thing with aunts and uncles and other cousins. If someone needed my care, I feel that family would be appropriate as caregivers in most cases. Responsibilities should be divided between family members depending on their availability and how they can benefit the family member that needs the assistance. Not everyone can do the same tasks. For instance, if I have a family member that can't drive, I'm not going to have them be responsible to take my family member to the doctor because it's just going to be very difficult for them. Okay, so let's move on to part 2. So I'm going to talk about aging. So this question is, describe some ways in which your life has been impacted by aging or disability, either your own or someone else's. Right now I'm 37 years old. My life has been affected by aging when I was 30, or in my early 30s, but not personally. My grandma, who I was very close with, was in her late 80s when I was in my early 30s. In her late 80s, she had an accident in which she never seemed to be the same again. The accident was she was at home alone, and at some point in the night she fell and couldn't get up. The next morning my mom found her on the floor, incoherent, and my grandma had soiled herself. It was just a bad situation. Over the next few years, my grandma's mental health declined until she passed away last year. It was sad to see her not only being old in age, but also become old in her mind. Okay, that was the saddest part of it. My mother and her brothers split the responsibility of taking care of her until she required more assistance as she became progressively disabled with dementia and leg problems. When they couldn't provide any or further care for her or the care that she adequately needed, she was placed in a long-term care facility with 24/7 care. The next question is, it asked me to identify at least 3 statistics and provide the information. Again, I have those charts that I will be providing in my resource section. Okay, and the last question is, based on what you have learned so far in this course, explain how you feel we as a society can do better at addressing the social and healthcare needs of the aging or the disabled. So, as a society, we have to be conscious about how we perceive people. We have to be able to understand that a person's age does not always reflect them as being old. We also have to keep in mind that not all old people are disabled. I feel like there's a stigma, like when you hear that somebody's old, you're gonna think, oh, they're decrepit, they need all this assistance. It's not always the case. Society should also try to find a way to educate each other about the differences between old and disabled. And healthcare employers, the employers, I feel like, need to make their employees aware of the difference. It wouldn't be fair to the patients to feel treated as disabled because of the fact that they are older in age. We have to find a way to change these stereotypes, but I think maybe more people need to just take this course and learn the differences. All right, so that is my interpretation of aging and disability and my examples. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you.